If someone had told me love could lie so beautifully, I would have laughed. I believe in the honesty of a glance, the safety of silence between two people, and the idea that if love felt real, it probably was. I was wrong. The city disappeared behind me in the rearview mirror as the morning sun crawled over the horizon. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, knuckles pale, but my heart felt heavier than anything my arms could ever carry. I wasn't running away. I was leaving, and there's a difference. Running is what you do when you're scared. Leaving is what you do when you're done. Zoya's voice still echoed in my head like a ghost that didn't know it was dead. The way she used to laugh. The soft, "I love you," she'd whisper in the middle of the night, like a promise etched into the dark. I replayed those moments again and again, as if somehow they'd change. As if maybe this time they'd end differently. But truth doesn't rewrite itself. I didn't tell her I was going. No note beyond a sentence. No confrontation. No door slammed behind me. I didn't need her to explain, to cry, to say she was sorry. Because even if she was, it wouldn't matter. The moment she chose someone else, love died on my side. She just hadn't buried it yet. People say closure is a conversation. Maybe, but sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's walking away without a word, without giving the other person a chance to lie again. I loved her. I don't deny that. But love isn't always enough, especially when you're the only one holding it in your hands, while the other has already dropped it and walked away. If only I'd known what I was to her, maybe I'd have said goodbye. But I didn't, and maybe that's the only goodbye she ever truly deserved. I met Zoya in the most ordinary way, in a coffee shop where the Wi-Fi didn't work, and the music was too loud for anyone to actually enjoy their drink in peace. I was waiting for a friend who never showed up. She was writing something in a worn-out journal, headphones and eyes focused like the world didn't exist around her. She looked like someone who belonged to a different timeline, the kind that reads poetry for breakfast and dances barefoot in thunderstorms. And yet, there she was, sitting a few tables away, biting the edge of her pen while the rest of the world moved on. I remember how awkward I felt when I walked over. I didn't have a pickup line. I wasn't planning to talk to anyone. But there was something about the stillness around her, the calm, that pulled me in. Do you always write in places with terrible music? I had asked, half smiling. She looked up, surprised, and pulled out one earbud. Only on Tuesdays, she replied without missing a beat. It was Thursday. I laughed. She smirked. And just like that, we started. Underscore, 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 underscore. Zoya was magnetic, not in the loud, dramatic way, but in the kind of way where she made you feel like the most interesting person in the room just by listening. I told her things I hadn't told anyone, not because she asked, but because she made silence feel safe. We started spending time together. Walks after class, coffee breaks that turned into dinner, long texts that stretched into midnight calls. She loved indie films and hated being interrupted while reading. She didn't believe in soulmates, but she believed in good timing. I believed in her. I didn't fall all at once. It wasn't dramatic. No music swelling in the background. No fireworks. It was slower, like filling a jar with rainwater, one drop at a time, barely noticeable, until one day it overflows. Underscore, 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 underscore. One evening, we were lying on the roof of my apartment building, looking up at a sky that held more stars than I thought the city could allow. She turned to me and said, "You ever feel like people are just temporary homes?" I didn't know how to answer that. I just shook my head and said, "Not you." She smiled. "You don't know that yet." But I did. At least I thought I did. Underscore, 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 underscore. I introduced her to my mother. That was a big deal for me. I don't bring people home easily. My mom liked her instantly. She has old eyes, she said once, like she's lived 1,000 lives already. We built our own little world. Weekend trips to nearby towns, late-night drives with no destination, stolen kisses in parking lots. Zoya made everything feel like a movie I didn't want to end. She wasn't perfect. She could be distant, emotionally complex, sometimes hard to read. But I never expected perfection. I just wanted honesty. And as far as I knew, she gave it to me. There was one night, though, that stays with me. We were lying in bed, and I told her I loved her. Not the rushed kind, not a slip of the tongue, the kind where you look someone in the eye and mean it with everything inside you. She froze for a second, just a second. Then she kissed me, hard, like she was trying to erase the hesitation. I love you too, she whispered against my neck. I believed her. Looking back, there were things I missed, moments that felt strange in hindsight, times she'd pull away when I held her hand in public, excuses that didn't add up, eyes that wandered just a second too long. But when you love someone, you rewrite reality for them. You edit out the lies and call them misunderstood truths. You hold on tighter, hoping your grip will stop them from slipping. I didn't know that love, real as it was to me, might not be real to her. Not in the same way. But back then I was all in, heart open, walls down, future imagined. Falling wasn't scary when I thought she was falling too. It started with something small. A late reply, a canceled dinner, a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. Nothing dramatic, nothing worth a fight, but enough to make me pause, enough to make me wonder. One evening, I texted her, "Movie night? I miss you." She replied 2 hours later, "Sorry, not feeling great. Just going to sleep early." I didn't think much of it. We all have our off days. But that night, I saw her tagged in someone's story, laughing, drink in hand, surrounded by friends I didn't know. Her smile was bright, her eyes alive, and it felt like I was looking at a version of her that had outgrown me. I didn't confront her. I told myself it didn't matter. Maybe she needed space. Maybe she just didn't want to disappoint me. Maybe. The cracks widened slowly, like wallpaper peeling at the corners of a room you still call home. She started ending calls early, said she was tired, too much on her mind. Her "I love you" S grew shorter, whispered instead of said. We'd meet for coffee, and her phone would be face down but buzzing. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd drift mid-conversation, eyes following something across the room, or maybe just avoiding mine. One night, I said, "You're not really here anymore, are you?" She looked up, startled. "What do you mean?" "I mean you're sitting across from me, but it feels like you're somewhere else. Someone else." She didn't deny it. She just sighed. "I'm going through things, Arif. Not everything's about us." That hurt more than I admitted. I started second-guessing myself. I became quieter around her, afraid to say the wrong thing, afraid to seem too needy. I kept telling myself this was just a phase, stress, exhaustion, life. But love shouldn't feel like you're waiting for someone to choose you every day. She became harder to reach, not just through calls or texts, but emotionally. It was like every version of Zoya I'd loved was folding on itself, becoming smaller, harder to touch. I remember a weekend we had planned to go away, just the two of us, to the same beach town we once called our escape. I booked the place, packed early, even made a playlist of her favorite songs. She canceled the morning we were supposed to leave. No explanation. Just something came up. I can't. I didn't even ask what it was. I just sat there, bag still packed, music still playing in the background. The worst part wasn't the suspicion. It was a silence between the suspicion and the truth. That long stretch of nothing where your heart keeps asking questions your mind isn't ready to answer. A mutual friend mentioned her name one night, casually. "She'd been hanging out with Rayhan a lot, right?" he said. My stomach turned. "Who's Rayhan?" He shrugged. "You don't know him? He's in her photography club. They're pretty close now." I smiled, lied, said I knew. I didn't, but I would. Underscore, 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 underscore. I went home that night, opened her social media, and saw it. The new pictures, the tags, the captions. Nothing obvious. Nothing incriminating. Just closeness. Eyes that looked at him like they used to look at me. I kept scrolling until I couldn't feel my hands anymore. She was still mine, but not really. And I realized something terrifying. You don't lose someone all at once. You lose them moment by moment, memory by memory, until all you're holding is a name and a habit. Underscore, 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 underscore. One evening, she called me, sounding sweet, too sweet, and asked, "Are you okay? You've been distant." I wanted to laugh. Instead, I said, "Yeah, just tired. You know, life." She replied, "Yeah, I get it." But I knew she didn't. Not anymore. Not like before. Underscore, 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 underscore. That was when I knew love wasn't fading. It was bleeding, slow, quiet, and invisible to the one holding the knife. I still loved her. That was the tragedy. And she was already leaving me. That was the truth. You know that feeling when you're standing at the edge of something and you just know that one more step will change everything? That's how I felt the night I finally saw the truth. It had been building for weeks, maybe months. Whispers in the dark, gut instincts that I kept brushing off, like dust on a shirt I didn't want to wash because it still smelled like her. But instinct, I've learned, is just truth trying to get your attention. And eventually, it screamed loud enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore. It started with her second phone. I never knew she had one. I wasn't snooping, not really. She left her bag at my apartment one night, said she was in a rush. I was just bringing it to her car when it fell, spilling half her life onto my driveway. That's when I saw it. A slim black phone I'd never seen before. No case, no stickers, no lock screen photo, just hidden. My hands trembled as I picked it up. It vibrated in my palm. A message popped up. "Rayhan, same time tonight? I miss you already." I don't remember breathing. I just remember staring at the screen, reading those words over and over again like they were part of some test I was bound to fail. My heart didn't break, not immediately. It just paused, like it was waiting for some other version of reality to kick in. Maybe this was a joke. Maybe she was planning a surprise. Maybe I was misunderstanding everything. I opened the phone. No password. Part of me wishes there had been. The messages were all there, weeks of them. Conversations too intimate to mistake, too raw to explain away. Photos, voice notes, her laughing, her whispering things to him I thought she only said to me, "He doesn't suspect anything. With you, I feel like I can breathe. I wish I met you before him." And then, "I'll tell him soon. I promise." She never did. When she arrived to pick up the bag, I had already placed the phone back inside. I didn't mention it. I didn't confront her. I couldn't. She smiled like everything was normal, kissed my cheek, thanked me, asked if we could grab dinner tomorrow. I said yes. That was the last lie I ever told her. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, heart hollow, thoughts loud. I played back every moment we shared, trying to find where it began, where it shifted, where I stopped being enough. Was it my fault? Had I been too present? Too soft? Too predictable? No. That's the thing about betrayal. It's never about what you lacked. It's about what they failed to value. The next day, I went to see her. Not to confront. Not to beg. Not even for closure. I just needed to look her in the eyes and confirm that the girl I loved was gone. She opened the door wearing the hoodie I gave her last winter. That felt cruel. It still smelled like me. "Hey," she said, surprised. "I didn't think we were meeting today." "I couldn't wait," I said quietly. She smiled. The kind that used to melt me. "That's sweet." I stepped inside. The apartment looked the same, messy, lived in, filled with signs of us. But now everything felt staged, like a scene in a play that had already ended, but no one told the actors. We sat in silence for a few seconds. Then I asked, "Who's Rayhan?" Her face dropped. Just a flicker, but enough. Enough to know that this was real. She looked away. "Why are you asking that?" "I saw the messages," I said. She inhaled sharply, eyes shutting tight. "Ariv, don't lie," I said almost gently. "Not now." She didn't. Instead, she sat down, elbows on her knees, facing her hands. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. She nodded, tears already forming. I was confused. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. "You were already hurting me," I said. "Every time you chose him, every time you lied, you were hurting me." "I still love you," she whispered. That made me laugh. The kind of laugh that comes from somewhere broken. "You don't," I said. "You love the comfort I gave you, the security, the version of yourself you could be with me. But you don't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have done this." She cried then, genuinely. I didn't feel satisfaction, only sadness. It wasn't the pain of losing her. It was the pain of realizing she was already gone, long before I knew I'd lost her. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold on either. "What now?" she asked, voice shaking. I stood up. "Now nothing. You're just going to leave?" I looked at her, at the woman I once wanted to grow old with. The same eyes, the same mouth, the same face, but not the same person. "I already did," I said. I walked out her apartment, down 3 flights of stairs, and into the cold air of a city I no longer wanted to live in. I didn't look back, because I knew if I did, I might still believe in a version of her I had loved, and that version didn't exist anymore. Some people leave loudly. Doors slam. Voices rise. Tears fall like threats. I always thought I'd be one of them, that if she ever broke my heart, I'd break everything on my way out. But when the end came, it didn't sound like thunder. It was quiet, still, almost merciful. The silence was a goodbye. I didn't call her the next day, or the one after that. I didn't block her. I didn't write long texts. I didn't post cryptic quotes or sad songs. I just stopped checking if she was online. Stopped rereading our messages. Stopped trying to understand why someone who said they loved me could choose someone else so easily. I left the way she'd slowly taught me to, quietly, without warning, like love slipping through a crack in a window during winter. Underscore, 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 underscore. I packed my bags on a Tuesday. It was raining, not heavily, just enough to make the sky look tired, like it, too, had run out of reasons to pretend. There wasn't much to take. A few clothes, my books, the mug she bought me on our first trip together. I left that behind. I didn't need reminders of life that had already ended. Underscore, 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 underscore. I wrote her one sentence. Not a letter, not a final plea, just one truth. Love was real, but not for both of us. I folded the paper in half and placed it inside the drawer of her nightstand. I didn't sign it. She'd know it was from me. That sentence was all I had left to give her. Not guilt, not hate, just reality. Underscore, 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 underscore. As I stepped out of her apartment for the last time, I looked around at the balcony where we used to drink coffee. The wall that still had faint marks from the night we danced barefoot to no music, drunk on laughter and wine. It all felt so small now, like a movie set after the final scene. The story was over. The lights were off. Everyone had already gone home, except me. Underscore, 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 underscore. I drove for hours. No destination. Just away. Away from the city. Away from the memories. Away from her. I stopped at a gas station halfway to nowhere, bought a bottle of water I didn't drink, and stared at my reflection in the restroom mirror. I looked tired, not just from driving, but from loving someone who didn't love me back in the way I needed to be loved. You never really notice when you start losing yourself in someone. Not until you're standing in a mirror, wondering how the hell you became this stranger. Underscore, 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 underscore. It hit me then. She never asked me to stay. She cried, yes. She said sorry. She said she still loved me. But she didn't stop me from leaving. She didn't fight. She let me go. And that told me everything I needed to know. Because when you're someone's home, they don't let you walk out without trying to hold you back. I was never her home. I was a resting place, warm, temporary, familiar. She had already moved on. Underscore, 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 underscore. There's something liberating about the kind of heartbreak that doesn't end in screaming. It leaves room for clarity, for growth, for grace. I didn't hate her. I didn't forgive her either. I just let go of the future I imagined, the life we planned, the way she used to say my name like it was her favorite word. I let go of needing an ending that made sense. Some love stories don't break. They fade. And sometimes that hurts even more. Underscore, 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 underscore. That night, I found a cheap hotel on the outskirts of town. No Wi-Fi, no noise, just the hum of fan and the ache in my chest. I lay on the bed and let the silence wrap around me. For the first time in a long time, I didn't wonder where she was, or who she was with. I was tired of writing chapters in a book that was already closed. Underscore, 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 underscore. The next morning, I woke up before the sun and stood outside, watching the sky bleed from black to pale orange. And for a moment, just a brief, fragile moment, I felt okay. Not healed, not whole, but okay. Like maybe, just maybe, I was on the first step of becoming someone new, someone lighter, someone who didn't have to carry the weight of a love that was never fully his to begin with. She had an affair, and I left without saying goodbye. Not because I was weak, but because I finally understood the power of walking away from a place I was never meant to stay. And maybe, just maybe, silence was the loudest truth I could have ever given her. Healing didn't come like a wave. It came like a whisper, soft, barely there, easy to miss. Some mornings I woke up and didn't think of her until noon. Other days, she still appeared in dreams I didn't invite her into. That's how grief works. It lingers in the corners, not loud, not cruel, just persistent. But over time, her name stopped feeling like a wound. Underscore 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 underscore. I moved to a quieter town by the coast. Somewhere no one knew me. No one asked about her. No one looked at me like I was half of something that broke. I rented a small flat with big windows and learned to enjoy my own silence. I started writing again, not about her, not at first, just about places I'd never been. Characters who didn't have my face or her eyes. But the truth seeped in, eventually. Heartbreak always finds a way into the ink. And maybe that was part of the healing too, turning pain into pages. Underscore 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 underscore. One evening, months later, I got a message from a mutual friend. Zoe is in the city for an exhibit. Her photos are being featured. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry. I wasn't. But because some doors, once closed, should never be open again. Even out of curiosity, because healing is fragile, and closure doesn't always require confrontation. Sometimes, it's knowing you don't need answers anymore. Underscore 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 underscore. I still remember her laugh. I still remember how she looked when she was happy. But the weight of it is gone. Now it feels like a story someone told me a long time ago. Familiar, but no longer mine. And that's something, isn't it? To finally let go, not because you're forced to, but because you want to, because holding on serves no purpose anymore. Underscore 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 underscore. One night I sat by the sea, alone. The sky above me was wide and unapologetically beautiful. Waves touched the shore like they'd done for centuries, without need, without regret. I whispered to the water, maybe to the wind. I loved her, and that was enough. Not because she deserved it, not because it ended the way I wanted, but because love, when it's real, doesn't need to be returned to matter. She had an affair. She betrayed me, but I survived it. And in surviving, I discovered something more important than revenge or regret. Peace. Underscore 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 underscore. I no longer hate her. I no longer miss her. But I remember her as a chapter, and I'm finally ready to write the rest of the book.